My mom, Enedina Guerrero, she was admitted to the hospital on January 19th, and she passed away February 12th. And I'm here because I just want to give thanks to everyone who had a part of during my mother's visit. And from the very beginning, when we had to go to admitting, the lady that registered my mom, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and you would have thought that she'd be in a bad mood, but she was actually very nice. She even made us laugh a couple of times, and that just alone made us feel very comfortable. My brother and I were here during that time, and the security guards as well. When we walked in, there was no questions asked. And during her almost 4-week stay, they were always very helpful. And we knew when we weren't supposed to come up. And sometimes, they'd have to talk to the nurses. And but they didn't just say, no, you can't. They asked. The nurses at the ICU on the second floor were just wonderful. I'm just sad that I wasn't here, right after work. I'd come straight to the hospital, so I wasn't here to meet other nurses that were here during the day. But the ones I do remember, they were always willing to help us out. They would let us know how my mother was doing, if they were allowed to, by the doctors. They actually took care of us when we were there. They made us feel better. I know whenever I'd call to see how my mother was doing, they were always very kind, very sensitive, because they knew my mother was very sick. I remember one nurse in particular. Her name is Nadine. She was always very attentive, always looking at our facial expressions to see how we were reacting towards my mother. If she saw we looked a little stressed or a little worried, she'd come right in and ask us questions. She was always there, willing to help us out. And she was also there when my mother passed away that morning. And she just seemed like a part of the family. That morning when my mother passed away, I don't remember what nurse it was. I know it wasn't Nadine, it was someone else. I called to see how my mother was doing, and she let us know that she wasn't doing well. And about 20 minutes later, I received a phone call at home from that same nurse, letting me know that maybe it would be good for us to come and see her at that time. And I just thought that was very special. She didn't have to do that. So I came right away, because we drove from Rio Grande, and that was just very kind of her, because she didn't have to do that. Just everyone, even the nurses at the nurse's desk, whenever we had a question, they would listen. You could tell. When you're bothering someone with a question, it didn't seem like we were bothering them. They really wanted to help us. But everyone was just wonderful, from the doctors to the nurses to even a cleaning lady that was in the waiting room in the ICU upstairs. She was watching TV, but she made sure to let me know that she was on her break, and she took the time to sit and talk to me. She could have just, sat in the corner, watched her TV, but she was so friendly and so nice, and started talking about her aunt that was sick and that had been in the hospital. And then after a while, she got up and left. It was time to go back to work. But like I said, just the atmosphere, the environment, walking down the hallways, you'd see employees and they'd say good morning. Even just a little smile or a good morning means a lot. You can tell what kind of a place you're in. I just wanted to come here and say thank you to all your staff, especially the nurses that I remember. And I'm sorry I can't remember everyone's name, but there was Nadine, Mabel, Jessica, and Erica. Those are the ones that I had communication with, and including all your staff members that made our stay a lot easier, or made my mom stay here a lot easier. Thank you. I think we're good.
Muchas gracias por su atención con mis 4 bebés.
And he was the one that took them, you know, the best care of Sergito, you know. And he was so patient, and he goes, "You do it, Mama. You give him the medicine, and you do the AKGs." And so I learned all that, right? When we were leaving, and you know, we were already like checking out of the hospital and everything. He was gonna walk us out and everything, right? He goes, I go, "Thank you, you know, for being so patient with my son, and thank you for, you know, everything you've done." And he goes, "Oh no," he goes, "I understand." He goes, "I also have a sick child." And I was like, "You do?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I have a child that has leukemia." And me and my husband were like, you know, we're astonished, and we're like, oh my God, we wanted to crack. I'm like, no wonder he was so, you know, patient with Sergito. No wonder, like, you know, he was like, no, to us, he was like, you know, everybody, even though everybody was so nice to us, but he was like, you know, always our favorite nurse. I don't want to mention, like, you know, too many names in particular, because there was too many people involved with, you know, my son's surgery. So we just want to thank everybody, you know, in general, from, you know, the moment that we walked in, we're taking so good care of all the nurses. They were doing a great job, you know, in what they do and, you know, in the profession. And I just want to thank everybody and tell everybody that from the bottom of our hearts, we're so blessed to have been here and to have had you all, you know, take care of my son and take care of us. And it's kind of emotional because we go back and we remember, you know, being here in the hospital with my son, and we want to let you all know that we're very, very thankful, and God bless you all.
Perfect. You want to start, or do I start?
Whatever you want to do. I'm trying to remember the name of the nurse.
Well, remember the one when I was crying? The one that consoled me? That told me, look, your baby's doing really good.
And the one that made you the chongo? What was her name?
I don't remember.
She was just
I don't remember her name, but they were just very helpful. I mean, I get really frustrated because I have a lot of hair, and my hair was like all in my face because I didn't have it back that day. So she came like and did a French braid and all this stuff, and I was like, oh my God, like nobody would ever do that.
Very happy with the way everything turned out. It was scary there for a little while, but I do appreciate all the nurses and the doctors that came in and helped us out. You know, it's scary when you're in a situation where, you know, your son and your wife are both sick at the same time. You know, you got 3 other kids at home, and I mean the back and forth, it's really difficult on somebody. But it was good peace of mind just to know that, you know, that my wife and my son were both, you know, taken care of.
I didn't expect to have my baby at 34 weeks. You know, it was like I came in at 11, I had the baby at 12. That was 1 hour. I mean, that's why I'm telling you, I argued with the doctors because I just wasn't ready. Like mentally, I wasn't ready. So the first time that I went to go see the baby in NICU, it was very overwhelming for me. I mean, I was crying. I mean, it was so hard to, you know, see your baby there in a box. And one of the nurses, her name was Ruth. It was very comforting for her to tell me, you know what? Your baby's one of the ones that's doing the best. You know, you don't have to worry. We're here and we're always taking care of him. And that was very comforting because it was true. I mean, he was doing really good.
You know, you think about it, the next time, you know, something happens, you know, God willing, nothing does. But, you know, when something does happen or something, you know what, the first thing in your mind is, you know, where do you want to go? Well, you know what, take me to Rio Grande Regional. You know, just because we know that, you know, the staff cares, you know, and we know that we'll be, us or our kids will be taken care of.
Yeah. So thank you, Rio Grande Regional.
Thank you.